It really does. I mean, it's absurd, the whole thing, so it's beautiful.
It's rain. It's rain. It's like, it's not rain by my house, but it's scattered in the way.
It's a fear of rain.
The fear of rain.
You can't drive in the rain.
And I will hand this to you. Oh God, you got the coolest. You flip it on the right side and you swipe it up from the camera. Do you have it on? Click the right button on your right side. Which way are you turning it? This is the button. So you click that right button. And then you can just go, hey camera, I want to see.
Oh, okay.
That's how that works.
All right.
Just so that you know.
Okay, thank you.
Not a problem at all.
Living in the 16th century.
I wanted to start with a poem about Brian for you.
Good, thanks.
And I am doing this because I've got 3 that I'm including of his in a book that is part of the Pharaoh Memes series of poetry books from Scars Publications, because I know that's not a word.
It is now.
It is now, because you can have pheromones and be attracted to them, and you could be, you know, understand somebody's memes or something, so these are Pharaoh memes. And the newest one on the thing is Pharaoh memes of haiku and Twitterverse and Instagram poems and poetry stuff. So I'll shut off the stupid one. But it'll be out in August. Uh-oh, battery's dead. What?
No way, I've got backup.
Backup cameras. So, this is one of the ones that will appear in that book, and it is called Outsider. Living as a stranger in this foreign land, I've looked for other strangers now here, so I feel a connection to other outsiders. That's when I found a bigger outsider than me.
Yeah.
A man whose voice could shake your soul to your foundation, and making you wonder what life you've missed, while a man younger than you can have lived through 2 hardened lifetimes. This was a man from another big city, a man who carried all the hardness of that city on his shoulders when he came to this town to break free. And he said he did. He felt more relaxed, carrying big stock pots of vegetarian chili in his Jeep, or wearing a suit to go into his Rod Serling persona when the occasion arose. And that's when I realized that, yes, I could get along with him, but yes, he's more of an outsider than me. And I think that as much as he argued it, I think that's the way he wanted it to be. I thought I was an outsider, and I think I still am. But the stories he would perfectly tell about a life worth living through so far away from here, I think he knew that he couldn't survive in that world any longer. But in the back of his mind, he knew that he could never belong anyplace else. It breaks my heart that he couldn't remain. But all I can think is that even if we both didn't belong here, at least I could have this little time with him where I could just enjoy listening. And maybe I wouldn't feel so alone.
Yeah. It's all about you.
No, it's all about Brian. Because we're all outsiders in this. And like, what do you think? And that was the thing. And who else is an outsider? Who does everything he can to fit in? Boy. Just this week, because it is June, marks the release of 2 new books of magazine issues from Scars Publications. The first one is from Down in the Dirt magazine, and it is called The Deep Woods. I've already been asked about this cover, and
It's a beautiful cover.
And they say it is from, well, as you've got your own cover, camera photo. They say that, people say they like this one, so I managed to get shot from the, oh, then you look for a thing in the corner that says, where is my, hey, turn that thing around. Stop and get it so That's how it works. The Deep Woods, I managed to get some photos from Kuypers, the Highlands, because those are the coolest looking trees out there.
Yeah.
So I had to. There are some short poems and haiku, and there's some from a performance art show, so I will share with you some poems from Down the Dirt. First one is right at the beginning, right at the table of contents. It's called, I think this is a perfect one, Poetry on a Stick.
I'm not sure if easy.
I've always said that everything is better when it's on a stick. I mean, little kids love ice cream guards on sticks at carnivals, and the Republican Party even reveled in serving right during the Iowa caucuses deep-fried sticks of butter on a stick, which supports my theory that everything really is better on a stick. And yes, you can put every food imaginable on a stick, and toys made on sticks or out of sticks have been around forever. So why not poetry on a stick? You can find companies online that look like mad selling single phrases they call poetry on a stick. But let's get more creative. Cut lines of a poem into one long stream of paper and then tape it to the end of a stick and wave it around like you're doing some sort of Olympic routine maybe. Or else put the poem onto sticks and leave them for others to find. Because if everything is better on a stick, then it's time poetry proved that to be true. I've got a select few haiku from here that I'll share with you.
Why is it not too long?
Yeah, well, that's what the ergo the word haiku. You got
It's
it.
a joke.
I know. It's called. This one's called Mirror. I look and see all that you've affected. The world, this house, the mirror.
That's it.
It's a haiku. There you
I
go.
know, but it's so short.
This one's called Keyboard. My hands, my fingers slammed against the keyboard to make sure the world's better.
Okay.
This one has a bonus word from a haiku. And I like the photo that's with it because it's me laying on a bed of snow.
Oh, wow.
Oh, visiting family. I'm like, it seems like a perfect photo for this. Our differences. This isolation here.
Attention, Jordan, we have your offer ready. Your offer is ready, is it, my God?
This isolation here with our differences. This distance is a universe. Now we're going to share with you poems in the back of the book that are from a performance art show called Seeing Things Differently. There's a select few in here. I hope you enjoy it. This first one's called Philosopher at the Blue Note.
You know, okay.
The Blue Note is a bar in Chicago that bands with blues music and
This one in the Blue Good.
well, this is the Blue Notes. It was a bar in Chicago. That's what this is about. Anyway. He seemed interesting, and he seemed so interested in philosophy, which seemed strange, sitting here at a bar at almost 1:30 in the morning. It didn't seem the time or the place for philosophy. But I asked questions anyway. So, do you believe in the God? And if so, do you believe in a mono or polytheistic religion? And he answered by saying that everyone has a God, whether or not it be their soul or an icon that they pray to every night before they go to bed, and that it doesn't matter what form the God takes for the person, because the moral choices are simpler in most every religion. What matters is that we have a God of one sort or another. That most people don't pay attention to that spiritual side, who they are or what they really mean. No, they don't, I thought, and I was amazed that this drunk man was able to formulate cohesive thoughts at 2:30 in the morning. But then, of course, he had mentioned something about sexuality. And then I realized that this was just one long, drawn-out come on. And so then he asked for my number, and I gave him a fake one. And then he tried to kiss me, and I pushed him away. And he ended up running out of the bar. So much for philosophy, I thought. And I went home once again, alone with my morals or values or whatever on earth you want to call them, wondering if there's anyone out there that's like me.
Well, you found one.
Found one. Slightly different, but you know, this one was an assignment poem. It said write your eulogy, I think, or something. I don't know what it was, but it's called She Was a Woman. She was a woman who thought too much. She was a woman who had dreams. She was a woman who accomplished everything she set out to. She was a woman who wore a crown of thorns. She was a woman who was punished for things she had not done. She was a woman who was strong. She was a woman who was beautiful. She was a woman who was beaten down. She was a woman who was angry. She was a woman who would walk into a co-op or worker's office, stand up on their desk, and do the twist, you know, just to relieve corporate boredom. She was a woman who worked 12-hour days. She was a woman who cried at Kleenex commercials. She was a woman who fought for her rights. She was a woman who should not have been born. She was a woman who believed in nothing but herself. She was a woman who begged to be loved. She was a woman who deserved more. She was a woman who picked flowers from her neighbors' yards in the middle of the night. She was a woman who belched out loud. She was a woman who laughed too hard. She was a woman who swore too much. She was a woman who grew up too fast. She was a woman who would turn up the stereo and dance alone in her living room. She was a woman who read philosophy. She was a woman who needed a reason. She was a woman who always saw the irony. She was a woman who demanded perfection. She was a woman who was always looking for something else. She was a woman who would jump on hotel beds every time she traveled and booked a room because it was hers, because she can. She was a woman who hated how she looked. She was a woman who wanted to be better. She was a woman who hated to lose control. She was a woman who planned everything. She was a woman who always had to feel secure. She was a woman who never played drinking games because she never needed an excuse to drink. She was a woman who showed off her legs. She was a woman who raised the pitch of her voice whenever she was asking for something. She was a woman who talked to her cat in a baby voice. She was a woman who could not eat something she could not kill. She was a woman who wrote letters to the editor. She was a woman who went to the manager when the service was bad. She was a woman who liked making waves. She was a woman who wrote poetry. She was a woman who could drink men, most men under the table. She was a woman who loved dirty chips. She was a woman who seldom crossed her legs. She was a woman who worked on 8 different projects at once and still managed to get them all done. She was a woman who never asked for help. She was a woman who always had the answers. She was a woman who admired ability. She was a woman who did everything to extremes. She was a woman who wanted to be alive. She was a woman who was never satisfied. She was a woman who was always trying. She was a woman who was always. She was a woman who was. She was a woman. She was a woman. She was a woman. This one is always fun, and I don't wish I had the blonde hair to pull it off. This one's called Too Far. When he met me, he told me I looked like Kim Basinger, long blonde locks. But as time wore on, I knew I wasn't her, and I could never be her, and I was never good enough, thin enough, pretty enough. So I got a perm, I straightened my teeth, I bought the Wonder Bra, but it wasn't doing the trick. So I bought Slim Fast. I used to stair-step rice cakes and wheat germ, but it wasn't thin enough. I only dropped 20 pounds.
Wow.
So then I went to the spa, and I got my skin peeled, I soaked myself in mud, I wrapped myself in cellophane, I bought the amino acid facial creams, but I knew they didn't really work. So I went to the doctor, and I got my nose slimmed, my tummy stapled, my thighs sucked. Thought about getting a rib or two, you know, like Cher. But ribs, I don't know, they've got to be there for something. And hey, that's just going too far. I've got one more for you to close this out, and it's a fun one. And it's called Transcribing Dreams 3. I'm not sharing the first 2 with you, you're just getting this one. Transcribing Dreams 3. I was walking into your living room, and there was a 10-gallon fish tank there. You had just bought it. You were looking at the fish. That's when I walked over, and I saw that there was a shark fish in the tank, one about 8 inches long, and he was at the bottom, killing and eating a 4-inch fish. And there were other 1-inch fish swimming skimming along the top neon tetras, small things. And I looked over and the shark was just eating this 4-inch fish, and soon it was completely gone. And you were just looking. You couldn't do anything. You could do nothing to save that fish. And then another 4-inch fish came out of hiding from behind a plant on the left side of the tank, and he darted around. It looked like he was in a state of panic. Maybe he had breathed the blood of his other 4-inch fish, his ally, his family. And he started darting around the tank, and the shark was just sitting there at the bottom of the tank. And then the 4-inch fish darted more, and then the shark opened his mouth. And in a darting panic, the 4-inch fish swam straight into the mouth of the shark. All he had to do was close his mouth and swallow the fish whole. There was no fight like the first one. There was no struggle. And I looked over at you, and you were just amazed that the shark just ate 2 of your fish, which were probably over $10 each, and that they just didn't get along in the tank together. And I looked at the tank, and I saw these little 1-inch neon tetras darting around along the top of the water. They knew that they would be victims later, trapped in this little cage, and that the shark was just waiting until he was bored and he would administer his punishment. I wanted to ask you why you bought all these different size fish and expected them to live together peacefully. And maybe you didn't realize that the shark would need more room than he was prepared for him. But besides, a shark this size shouldn't even be alone in a tank that small as 10 gallons. He needs room to grow. But before I could say anything, I saw the shark swim to the top of the water, push his head and nose out of the water, open the lid to the top of the aquarium. You weren't looking, so I told you to turn around and look. And the shark just sat there, looking at you, as if he wanted to show you what a good eater he was. It was almost as if he was looking to you for approval.
Shark bait, baby.
Definitely. Thank you.